All right, Miss Jones.
Yes.
Welcome to the Stop TV. This is really cool for me because I grew up listening to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I remember listening to you in 2008 and then listening to you in 2024.
Mm,
So that's a long time in radio.
huge gap. Yes.
Yes. So I just want to say, how's everything? How is everything going?
Everything is going well. I just made a transition from terrestrial radio to platforming. So I still do Jonesy in the morning on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and StreamYard. So the people are coming. They're coming. They're happy to have me talk the grown talk that were running the 90s
Yeah.
are about.
How is it transitioning to digital media? Because I feel like I've worked with people who used to work in radio,
Hmm.
and it's not an insult. Y'all kind of feel like we're working with y'all sometimes, like dinosaurs in the way y'all perceive content, and it's like a bit different. Sometimes filming something with like low production value seems like off. How is it transitioning to digital media?
Oh my God, my production value is so low bar. um, as far as being able to touch the people, I love it. I love that there's no third party uh, tiptoeing, gatekeeping moron that never did or created successful radio. I like that I don't have to squash my entire thoughts into a 3-minute talk break. And I like the fact that it's you can cut out middlemen and it's monetizable. So there's a lot of freedom.
Yeah. I think one of the leaders of digital media in this space is Queenzflip.
Yes.
And I saw you and Shammy. That was a bit surreal because I had a show with Shammy, also known to have interactions with Queenzflip. But I kind of get the sense that you're building together. Like you're thinking about doing something. Like I see Queenzflip's wheels turning, saying things like, "Oh, you close to me, Shammy, you close to me. You know, we could do something." And then y'all stream, and then y'all did like 15,000 views, which I think is a lot. So is there something coming from y'all three?
Absolutely. And there's always something coming from Flip. But if you don't know the story, when I was home, Queenzflip had reached out. My sons had set me up on Instagram. I didn't know any of these things. Like when I left in 2008, I went to Philly. But when I left Philly in 2011, I left really disheartened, jaded, blacklisted. A woman had lied on me and said that I caused damage to her daycare, and the radio station did not stand behind me or even beside me or even allow the truth to come out. And later on, she wound up going to prison because everyone found out that it was all a lie. But in that time, you can imagine how isolated I felt. And just like kicked to the, I always say New York left me in them hip hop streets for dead. Queenzflip was one of the first people to wind up in my inbox, which I didn't know what it was called then until my son was like, "Why is Queenzflip trying to interview you?" He's reading. I'm like, "Who's Queenzflip? What's going on?" It would turn out Queenzflip is one of the most influential streamers, you guys' generation, and he was interested in hearing. He wanted to know, where did I go? So I credit him with putting me in the game. He sat there every day. He would teach me how to start a YouTube page, how to do digital, how to upload and monetize, all the things. So for that, when people transition you to increase your or to enhance your life for the better, you should always cherish those people. So when Queenzflip calls, Jonesy will answer.
Yeah, I can't lie. I was afraid to interview you because I was like, "Yo, what if she knows Flip?" And like, like, "Yo, Danny's here" or something like that. Considering our back and forths. Um,
But I did see that, but I was like, he does business. He be talking to Star,
yeah.
and y'all know I don't fuck with him. So business is business.
Yeah. I do think you, Shammy, and Flip would have a great dynamic. I wonder how you and Shammy would like battle, not battle, but just like y'all both. I think you have A mic syndrome. You've been an A mic for 20 years.
First chair, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Shammy, I did a pod with him. I'm naturally a B, C mic.
Oh.
And I'm like, yo, I just wonder how that's gonna work because he'll cut you off. You don't care if you Barack Obama, Howard Stern, he gonna cut you off. So I wonder how that's gonna go.
And I don't think he does that intentionally. We discovered all three of us have ADD. So we're all having three separate conversations at the same time. We're stepping over each other. We're yelling over each other, and it's all good. But when you're first chair, and I'm tired too. Like, I'm a little tired. So I'm easy. I'm going to sit back and let whoever needs to say something or wants to say something speak. I'll get my turn.
Yeah. One of the things I always find interesting about people who go from traditional forms of media to digital media
Mhm.
is monetization is very different, right? You could be popping in digital media and not get the same type of money that you would be getting from, let's say, a corporation backed by iHeart or a corporation like Amos, where they're getting money in. How do you kind of deal with the fact that digital media, you have to get the money coming in? It's not just you just show up and you get paid.
You get, this is new to me. It's a new space. The beauty of me coming recently from terrestrial radio is that a lot of the um, advertisers, they came with me. So I'm appreciative that I was able to come back after 15 years and show that I'm still relevant and reintroduce myself. There is an audience that is of our age that is not dinosaurish. We just have a certain way of doing, and we've seen the same things growing up. So I call it hashtag own your grown. I am happy to own my grown. I'm not going to lie about my age. I'm going to embrace it. So in that spirit, I'm still new to the digital monetization also, but I guess I'll see and I'll learn. But the advertisers and the sponsors are great to have them.
Yeah. Is digital media your new lane? Would you welcome a return back traditional radio? Do you even care about that anymore?
No, I think radio has not been great to me. It's been about 34 years, I think. Hasn't been great to me. And it's like a child that has been trapped in the basement. You think the basement is wonderful and well because that's all you've known. And you eat when you eat, you drink when they feed you or, give you the water. But then once you break out and you see sunlight and you see all the other things that you've been missing out on, who's going back?
Yeah, I feel like radio isn't great to many people.
Yeah, I didn't know it was that cutthroat of a business because I never was a radio head. I've always been a singer. And I've always wanted to sing. I wound up in radio because I was promoting my records and they offered me the opportunity, and I never turned opportunities to grow down. But I never planned to be there for 34 years. I never planned to not get back to my music, although I did 4 years ago. I have like 5 new songs. One was Grammy nominated. I kind of lost my way. I got caught up in that check that you were talking about, the institution money. And once you're a slave to that check, like, it's hard to jump off that hamster wheel.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of the hamster wheel, you got back on it in 2022 with The Block,
Yes.
a old school hip hop format.
Yes.
I was excited because I love old school hip hop more than I love what 97.1 of them play. Did it feel good? Like, how was that transition back to being on air?
Oh, it felt like I was right at home. It was like riding a bicycle. And the people, it felt like they missed it too. So I don't know. Again, I was home. I couldn't listen to the radio because I was so, I don't know if it was depressed, but I could not listen to Ebro. I couldn't listen to Envy because I just kept feeling like these boys learned from me. Like, I started them in New York morning radio, right? And no hate, but it just was, Envy's over here making millions. Ebro's over here maybe making millions, but neither of them have reached back to see if I need anything or how I'm doing or if my kids need Christmas or anything like that. So for a very long time, I was not even able to listen without getting triggered. And it took a minute, but I have to say that Ebro welcomed my music because he works at Apple. When I got my new songs going, he playlisted the song and he was very supportive. And Envy just snapped right back into brotherhood, came on my show, invited me to the Breakfast Club. I go over to the house. His wife and I have lunch all the time. And so the relationships are solid. I just had to grow.
Yeah. Okay. So they were kind of okay. There was no real issue. It was more so some like just the industry had kind of left you jaded on previous friendships that you may have had, and Is that why you looked at it different?
I think because, yeah, I felt like it's like anybody. When you start something and you all, I can't say we started as a crew, but when we went through, without me mentioning what it was, we went through all the drama that we went through and almost all lost our jobs and we bonded. That created a bond that, for me, had expectation that you would check on each other, whether you were seeing each other every day or not, at least once a year, to make sure that each other is okay. And when I didn't get that, well, the Scorpio and me said fuck them both and moved on and shut it down. But again, I had to mature enough to remember that there's always another side and it ain't always just about you.
Now, one thing I think is important because people might listen to you and be like, "Oh, what do you? What? Why would they Ebro and Envy, do that? Like constantly praise you." But in morning radio, it is important to get someone to put you on. Can you go into detail on how you put Ebro and Envy on? Like, what was that decision like?
So I had been let go from Hot 97. Well, not really from Hot 97, from Star and Buck Wild. And I went to Philadelphia, and Star and Buck Wild wound up not being a good fit, I'll say, for Hot. So the new boss at Hot called me back from Philly, asked me to come back to Hot. Envy was already on the show as the DJ and maybe a third chair. And Ebro was in the corporate office or in the back office. He was not even on air. He was the music director. But when we got into trouble and we all got suspended, Ebro was the only one that, because he was off air, that could go on air and hold the show down. So my choice to keep Envy simply was because when I first came back and they were trying me out or whatever, he pulled me to the side and he said, they're going to offer you the job. And I said, really? I thought I was just filling in until you guys get back to Joe Buttons or whomever you go back to. He said, no, they're going to give you the job and don't let them lowball you. Joe was getting $250,000. Don't take anything less than that because he wasn't doing radio and you have for years. To me, that's loyalty beyond. Because he didn't know me and he didn't know that they were trying to get rid of him until later on when they started trying to get rid of him and bring other third chairs in. And I stood up and I was like, no, I want him. He's staying. So that's how that one seed of loyalty went a long way with me, which is probably why I felt so upset when they hadn't checked on me in 15 years. But if you guys watch the Breakfast Club interview, you'll see, because we went through it and he told me how he felt. And I didn't realize that he felt that I went to Philly. And when I went to Philly and I didn't take him, he felt a way about that. So it was a communication that got me to say, wow, okay, so you've been holding that, I'm holding this, and it's holding us apart.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to ask more about Hot 97 and the golden era there, but I do want to get back to 94.7 The Block versus previous, jobs that you had. Was it different? Was it similar? Was it the same muscle just being activated again?
For me, it was the same muscle being activated, but even though it is still new, me not being there, I probably, outside of Philadelphia, I probably had the most leeway. And that's big for New York radio. I had a lot of leeway, I had a lot of support. They didn't necessarily have all the resources, like billboards and marketing dollars and a strong signal and budget. So it was just me. I didn't have a co-host. I didn't have a booker. I didn't have the things that you would ordinarily need to compete in a top major, in the number one market. But I had a great time. I got to reconnect, and I got to reconnect in a new space at a new age with new experiences and children. And I was a reckless runaway, renegade when I left, and now I am a responsible renegade.
Yeah, this is my next note is like you were much more measured because I did listen to you more. Like when you came back, I listened to you more than I listened to the other morning shows in like your competitors like Ebro and Charlamagne.
Yeah.
And I was like, she is so much more measured than when I used to listen to her in college, like in 2007. So I do remember how it used to be.
Was that bad or was that good? Or what were your thoughts about that?
I everybody loves mess. So I was I remember Miss Jones. And I just remember you being way more informative. And even with the Queenzflip stream, the conversations y'all were having was like productive. Y'all got into Malcolm versus the teachings of Martin Luther King. And it's
Yeah.
like, that seemed like a conscious choice. And much like people accuse Charlamagne of going PC, this was, I wouldn't say you were PC, but it felt like a much more measured Miss Jones, like measured Miss Jones. That would be the,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And I think that was what that station required, because it was supposed to be a breath of fresh air. You know, we're adults. We know what you're capable of, and we know what you can possibly do, but people just are happy to have you back, so you don't have to do all those tricks anymore. And that, you know, because when I was on Hot 97, I won't lie, you're still competing against the Howard Sterns, the Elvis Durans. I was always pushed to be provocative. And if you wanted to maintain that top 3 spot, and I did all the years I was there, I was always getting bonuses for being first or second or sometimes third. You had to push buttons, and you had to go places that maybe you weren't even comfortable going. But the mission was be provocative, go beyond, don't worry about it. Ask forgiveness, not permission. So I understood the assignment, and clearly the station didn't push back, you know. So I just want people to know we only go as far as the gatekeepers allow us to go. So don't think it's just us being wild. It's encouraged.
You were incentivized to do so.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Were you surprised when they decided to go in another direction? Everything to me looked so smoothly. Like you weren't like the older Miss Jones when it was like you were making ruffling feathers and doing all that.
Right.
So it's like they're like, whoa, we moving on. How did that kind of go down?
I can't talk. I'm not supposed to talk about them, and they ain't supposed to talk about me. But what I'll say is, when I got back, I always said that it was only but for the grace of God that after all these years, New York decided to start a radio station based on 90s, and I was available. So I knew this was God. This wasn't anybody at the block. This was God bringing me back after he knew I did the work and that I was ready to be his messenger of mess or watered down mess or whatever it was, that I was ready. I also started doing television while I was at the block, which a lot of companies don't let you do, you know, both. And they were gracious enough to allow that. And it's something that I want to explore because, again, I've been doing radio for 34 years. So while I might not have left that day, I was definitely ready. And every day I remind myself, you're ready to give yourself a shot. Because if not now, then when?
Yeah, I do see you on Picks a lot.
Yes.
So that was through the block?
No, I got that on my own.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. Picks
Thank
is
you. I
a
had a
great.
friend over there that I had when she was younger and I was Miss Jones, the singer. Her and her friends had written letters to the record label asking me to come to their cable show, and they didn't think I would come. And I actually came. And she now is a reporter for Picks. So she saw me at an event and she was like, oh my God, I want to pay it back. You don't understand. We were like 15-year-old kids. We never thought we could. You know how many letters we wrote? And you came and you stayed. So I said, if I can ever do anything for you, so she said, I'm going to get you on Picks. And she did.
Yeah. So we don't have to talk about the block. I like the ending there. But I'm always curious in like how radio oustings happen on the drop of a dime, where it doesn't even seem to be rooted in anything other than just like maybe office politics, or because like I've seen your ratings, they weren't bad, and they just like, we got to go in a different direction. What is the rationale behind some of these decisions? I
think it's always money. I think it's always money. And I think companies are trying to figure it out because streaming got a foot in their ass. And the streaming world is new. So there's no blueprint for a radio station to say, let's just do what they did back in they're figuring it out in real time and they're trying to stay afloat. So I don't know what that will look like. I don't know if the block will be here forever. I don't know. But what I do know is that there is an audience that they were reaching, which is, you know, those of us of a certain age. And those people are connected. They're following me right now on Jonesy in the Morning on my Pink Champs channel. So they're, you know, but then again, I don't have a whole institution that I have to pay salaries to. I can, you know what I mean? So.
Yeah. Like I was looking at, I was on Bagview last week and I saw 98.7 MS, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
on Radio Exitos. It's like a Latin American station ran by an iPad. And
Whoa.
it was like, damn, that's scary. That's
Yeah.
scary. Because I was reading an article about it, and the guy was like, this is cool, this is inventive. And it got into the history about how they released the radio frequency for 10 million, but they decided to just do an iPad because I was like, that's like
Low overhead, I guess.
yeah.
It's strange. It's very strange. It's very interesting to watch how it all plays out. But for me, it's always been for me connecting with people in real time. Even when I'm doing events or I'm out in public, I think people know what they hear is what they get. So they don't hesitate to walk up to me or grab me or recite something I've said on air because they know I'm going to stop in real time and be like, bitch, you heard me when I said that? It's exciting to me. Not like you never have to worry about Miss Jones giving you shade unless she's having a bad day. And even in then, I'll say, there's nothing against you. I'm just dealing with some stuff. What you see is what you get. So it's the impact and the connection that I'm hoping that the streaming continues to deliver for me.
Yeah. Now, I did see this publicly. I was on the Blocks page,
Mhm.
and I saw when the Radio Big Mac show was announced, you in the comments, you weren't a big fan of the rollout.
Oh, because they had that
But,
hoodie.
yeah.
It was a hoodie. And I said, what did I say? Something about Trayvon?
Trayvon Martin.
Yeah, I was like, there's the mess. You wanted the mess, right?
All right. I never heard of Radio Big Mac before. I did research. I didn't know he was a Breakfast Club writer, whatever that means, right? That I don't know.
Envy said if he's a writer, because I was like, because Envy thumbs it up. And immediately I called him. I was like, are we thumbsing up replacements? You know, you don't want the mess. But I said, we thumbing up replacements? And he was like, no, I thumb up anybody that gets a new job. I said, okay, keep that same energy. Because he's telling everybody that he used to write for y'all. He said, what? And then he said, if he wrote for us, I was Jay-Z's ghostwriter. Nope, I don't care. He was the writer. You thumbed it up. That means he was your writer. So I don't know. I don't know that child. I think he was born in 1996 when we were doing the One More Chance video, child.
Wow. Okay. Now, I love that you said like formats can die because like Hot 97 seems like it's been around forever, and it has. But like, I remember my brother telling me like it used to be like a freestyle
Yes.
TKA. I
Hot
wonder if I
100, I
take you
think.
home.
Yep.
Type.
Yeah.
And I was like, then I went back on YouTube and I went to listen, and I was like, oh yeah, they was playing all that George Lamont, Stevie B, but you get there, and I must say, to me, you were the last great Hot 97 morning show.
I heard you say that on a previous podcast. Thank you for that.
Oh,
Thank
no
you.
problem. Because like all due respect to Cipha and Rosenberg, I felt like they were trying to do something really different. They were trying to like Curb Your Enthusiasm on radio, and I was like, I don't think it had a place in New York City radio. And to me, Ebro was also a seat filler. And this is my assumption, and just of what I've listened to, may have attained those roles by like back office political maneuvering. That's just what I think.
You might have been listening to me this morning. Were you listening to me this morning when I broke down the whole Ebro
I just been
thing?
watching all y'all talk on different radio shows. I saw Cipha on Mav's show and him talk about Ebro and how he thought Ebro may have done something. It just seems like who rises to the top in morning radio isn't necessarily the best. It's who can procure and manicure relationships.
Or who can fool the people, the shirts. Because the shirts, they don't care. Any black face will do. Any brown face will do. They assume that if you're a brown face and you haven't been challenged by the real culture, that you are the spokesperson for the culture. In my opinion, I feel like Ebro maneuvered himself into my morning show seat. And I've always felt that way. I probably have told him this. I'm sure I have, because I don't hold things in. And it was just, he used his inside as the program director, as the music director, to be a part of the show. And when he got on the show, they asked him to make a choice. Either he had to go back to the office or he would stay and transfer to being on air. He left it up to me. Do you want me to stay or do you want me to go? I said, it's up to you. Instead of him saying, I really want to be on air because I have a master plan of getting rid of you and bringing in this guy, Rosenberg, who just sent me a demo tape. Instead of him being honest, he I say, go back to the office. He goes, I don't care. So I said, well, go back to the office because you're more useful to me telling me what the shirts got coming. But then he tries to bring Rosenberg into my show under the guise of producer. I needed a new producer. Never telling me that he had a master plan, that he was going to keep Rosenberg to the side. Because, of course, I'm no dummy. I knew Rosenberg was not there to just be a producer. So, of course, you can't come and work for me as a producer because you're trying to take my chair. So, but Ebro kept him on the side because he knew I was pregnant. I already was syndicated in Philadelphia. It was just a matter of time. But I think Ebro moved that time up because my ratings were wonderful. And the only thing that got in his way that he wasn't anticipating was the owner's relationship with Big Boy from the West Coast, because he was on our West Coast station and he had always wanted a shot at New York radio and they always promised. So this was his opportunity to say, can I have my chance now? So now Ebro has to wait. He wasn't counting on that. So he brings Big Boy in from the West, or they bring Big Boy in from the West Coast. And then they put Cipha, who was Flex's man. So Flex has a lot of power, if you guys have not noticed. And him and Cipha, they go way back. So Flex was trying to champion for Cipha getting a shot at the morning show. So they put Cipha in, they put Rosenberg in, and Ebro knew that they would need him because he was the only one that knew the working model. So when everything fell apart, it was easy for Ebro to slide right into the chair, to chair one. Rosenberg is grateful that Ebro brought him to the table. I don't know the girl. I don't know when she came. I know Kay Fox was there at some point. And then I don't know if her voice was too strong. I do not know why. But they got rid of the black girl, and they've never had a black girl up there since. Everyone looks like Ebro.
Yeah, I think maybe listeners might view this as crazy, but this aligns with a lot of research that I've seen. That some of the guys who survive are really just good at surviving, not
Right.
necessarily thriving.
Right. They know how to play the game. They know how to talk to the shirts. And if you can do both and be a little great here and a little okay there, you rise to the top.
Yeah. One of the things I'm always fascinated by is how do you measure the success of a morning show? Now, you may tell me what your version of success is, but that may be colored by the people who managed you at the time. Because to me, I would think Ebro's show wasn't successful, but it was on for many years. But how were you measured in terms of your success on air?
I don't know.
Were there any metrics that they were like, yo, you got to hit this, Miss Jones?
There are always metrics. But even in Philadelphia, there were metrics. In the station I was on where I really dominated when I got there, they were like number 59 in the market of 58. And they kept telling me, you know, we're a small signal station. You may not have ratings. We understand. No one has. Ricky Smiley hasn't been able to do it. Steve Harvey hasn't been able to do it. All these people. And I was able to get them to number 3 in 3 months. But that was because of the impact of the actual people. Because I was exactly who I am now, exactly who I've always been, outside, talking to people, popping up at people's barbecues, being who I am, being who they heard. And so I measure success based on the impact, the people. Everybody can't be lying. Everybody ain't happy to see you. But when they're all happy to see you, or even if they're not happy, they remember something you said and they call you on it, they're engaged, then you know you won. So I don't need a metric. Metrics can be manipulated.
Yeah. Speaking of manipulated metrics, I feel like in the digital era, mass manipulation is occurring.
Is it?
I feel like people are view botting. I saw a video the other day about Revolt TV. There's a video on their channel that has 5 million views and 3 comments. Anybody who does YouTube know that that's view botting.
View botting means?
I pay some type of third party to just run up the views on my, there's like a view farm and they have a bunch of phones and they just click my video over and over and over and over, but it's not real views.
So if that happens, why would the corporation still put money behind these shows? Like, wouldn't the businesses know that?
Appearance is everything. So if you have a Walmart ad on a video with 5 million views, you have budget to spend. If I got to give Miss Jones $10,000 because I have $10,000, it might be in your interest, not saying you would do this, but to view bot, and it's like, just keep that relationship open. Be like, look, this video's got 5 million views. And people who might not know any better is like, all right, fine. And that's one thing that's happening with Twitch. A lot of these people are buying views and botting views. So you don't really know who's popular And these views aren't necessarily an indication of that.
That's insane. So how do you measure success then?
I measure success obviously by the income of the YouTube channel and also just my community and engaging with them that way online, and taking the money and trying to grow something different because this is a new channel that I'm launching. This is the Stop TV and just constantly doing different things and also retaining ownership because there was a time where I wanted to be in radio, but this was like 2011. It was bad.
That's when I left.
It was
That's
bad.
when I left. But I think it's always been bad. I think that you get, like you said when we started, you get used to getting that check. You get used to having health benefits. You get used to the favor and the optics. You get used to it and they rock you to sleep. But now you have ownership. And now I have ownership. I have Pink Champs, the sister podcast to Drink Champs that we're rolling out. I have Clear My Name, which is a daytime talk show that I invested in myself and now has been picked up by a company. And that's ownership. This is something I can leave for my kids, not a possible check. And, oh, thank you. You know, we loved you, but it's time to move on.
Yeah, yeah. I gotta ask about like when because being the host of the Hot 97 morning show is a big deal during that time.
Yeah.
Who were your biggest haters? Who hated? Like who was just like crazy?
Everybody. Who didn't? And I had no idea all this was going on because remember when I came back as the chair one to the morning show, that was on the heels of Star and Buck Wild. They were huge. We were huge. And then, you know, I left and they were huge. So whenever you come and try and fill the shoes of someone that was huge and loved and not even always loved, but they moved a needle, everyone's going to hate you. That might be happening now, you know, with the shoes that I left. It's just the natural, the normal way. So everybody felt a way and they have the right to feel like a pattern was ripped from their listening and they don't know how to respond. So all I could do is continue to give my morning radio. And ultimately it caught on.
Yeah. I listened to Flip Stream, what you did with Shammy, and you broke down how a certain someone was snitching on you. I don't even want to say the name because that person gets crazy with the takedowns and all that. How are you getting snitched on Hot 97? Like, I'm mostly referring to the hater. But like you said someone was snitching on you because Shammy was like, this person snitches, but he says he's gonna snitch, but then you were like, but snitching is different if you're snitching on something in relation to you. But if you snitch on somebody on a crime that has nothing
to do with you.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're sharing an office with your co-hosts and you have things on your side of the room and they have things on their side of the room, I guess I'm supposed to pack up my whole desk every day or else they're rambling through and finding things and taking pictures or doing whatever and sharing it with other people. I think that's snitching.
What type of things were these? Like,
it didn't even matter. It was just like
the idea of doing it. Okay.
Right. Little notes, like any ideas. Like I'm always a write this down type of person. So anything, but if it gets in the wrong hands, you can misconstrue it, right? Or you get personal information from other people and then they're calling and they're like, how'd you get my number? Oh, Miss Jones had it on her desk. And now I look like I'm just leaving people's information out for anybody, you know? It just, yeah.
Is that because you said earlier, like Flip messes with this person and it seems like there's a torture. Is that the basis for your tortured history with this someone?
No, you didn't listen. Every day it was a basis for freaking torture. This is why I know I'm built to last. I always tell people if I could work with anybody. I could work through anybody. I can work through anything. In hindsight, and I don't want to confuse things. Yes, there's still like nastiness that I feel when I flash back to some of the times. I would have never been exposed to the what ifs. I would have never been able to land on my feet. Probably had I not been in battle every morning. So I'm in battle in the room, right? And everyone in the room that's under his thumb, I'm in battle.
Okay.
So when you're battling all the time, it just sharpens your iron. I had to learn how to become measured and soft and realize that everybody isn't out to get me. But think about it. If every day you walking into the lion's den, what you gonna do?
Yeah, I kind of just had a flashback of how you went at him, and I was like, damn, you also gave as good as you got. Like,
right, right.
He was like, you saying some shit about your mother.
Yeah. It was They have no idea. Like,
Yeah.
and I try not to like, oh, woe is me, because it wasn't. I was young. I was built for it. It was a lot all the time. So again, I learned a lot. So, and I guess there is a level of respect there, somewhat.
Yeah, navigating friendships in this industry is interesting because I remember doing a pod show with Shammy. I was like, I'll never talk to Flip again. Here he is back on stream.
And
So,
I guess that's but you know what? That guys always do that. It's the girls that fall out and be like, what Cardi B say? A bitch that don't like me is a bitch that don't like me forever. That's women. Men, y'all can fall out and be at the bar with hookah and hoes in the next hour. So,
okay.
And that was the first time I met Shammy last Thursday, for the record.
Yeah, I hope it works out.
I do too.
Yeah. Now, obviously, you get removed from the morning show. I think you kind of got into it. They replace you with a far weaker morning show, one that is very different. I don't think there's ever been a morning show like Cipha and Rosenberg in New York City radio, for better or worse. So what you said earlier is basically why they made that decision. Like they were trying to, Ebro may have trying to go through the machinations of just trying to get to that spot.
Ebro was trying to maneuver to get the chair. He did not come all the way from the Bay Area to be in the back office, but at that point, that was the only job available. Ebro's a thinker. So what does he say? It's all right. I'm going to take that. I'm going to get in the mix. I'm going to make friends. I'm going to make relationships, and I'm going to dominate. Don't that sound like something Ebro would say?
Yeah.
And again, I guess I made it easy because at that point, I just got married. I was about to have my second child. They don't want a pregnant woman necessarily at the helm of Hell 97. And I didn't necessarily want to be there if I wasn't going to be supported. But the way it happened, Ebro can't be mad at how they fired him recently, because women always say the way you get a man is the way you're going to lose a man.
Yeah.
So Ebro, the way you got the job is the way you lost the job.
Yeah. He just, I don't know, man. He has that smile where it looked like he like, he's setting you up, but you can't say he's setting you up. He always whatever, but I'll talk about that a little bit later, because I observe all you radio people from afar. And some of y'all characteristics, y'all personalities, even when y'all had that morning show, I don't think you were on that, but the Hot 97 VH1 show.
No, I wasn't even on that mess. Yeah, no.
It was a terrible show.
It was so inauthentic. Yeah, it was it was very performative.
Yeah.
Like very scripted. But so that and separate and apart from that move that he did to get in there, I'm sure he did a fine job keeping people entertained and being on brand with Hot 97 for the last 15 years. So I don't want him or anyone else to say, oh, Miss Jones was, no, I was talking very specifically about my situation, and I know what I experienced. I was there. You guys were not. That was it. But as the whole, I'm not throwing him away. I'm just saying what goes comes.
Yeah. I saw in the live you did that your Cash App is still Hot 97 Miss Jones.
Miss Jones Hot 97. And my SS Jones Hot 97 beat.
Yeah, and something like that. You even said you helped build the station.
I did.
Why do you feel that way?
Because I was the first Black woman to do morning radio, number one, at that station.
That's shocking.
In New York. Yeah. And for so long, so effectively. And again, even when I left, what you guys were listening to on Hot 97 with Ebro, that was all me.
What you mean by that?
Ebro learned from me. The first morning show that Ebro got a taste of in New York was whose show? Miss Jones in the Morning.
Okay.
They kept my Carmen, the lady that was making the prank calls, that's really a guy, they kept my things. So you could not, for the last 15 years, listen to New York morning radio without still listening to Miss Jones. Envy, same thing. And Envy will tell you, everything he learned in radio, he learned from me. So I felt, once I got over my anger and punch in the air, I was able to say, you're still living. Niggas still been listening to you on the radio through the lens of Ebro and through the lens of Envy. But all of that is stuff that you built. All of that, even falling on the sword. They stood there and they watched and they learned what not to do. Why they wound up staying employed and your ass steady falling in Philly on swords. That's all you.
Yeah. You even said you were on the Mount Rushmore of Hot 97 with Lisa G, Ed Lover, Angie, and Flex. Dr. Dre. Why did you choose to leave like folks like Star, Ebro, Wendy off?
It's not enough room. All right, could we have two? We definitely have to put Star and Buck on a mount, but they would have to be on a mount by themselves. And maybe I'm on the mount with them, and well, no, I have to be on each mount. So maybe there's 3 different mounts. There's Ed Lover, Lisa G, Dr. Dre, Flex, Angie. All right, yeah, Flex, Angie, maybe definitely Fat Man Scoop and Dennis, and then because we built something from nothing. When you talked about how it was a dance music station before Steve Smith, God rest his soul, took the chance on hip hop, there was no blueprint. We were kids. We were kids that believed, and we will all have general meetings like once a month or so where everyone would come. DJ Jazzy Joyce, Coco Chanel, Bobby Condors. You saw your colleagues, and everybody in that meeting put all their ideas, all their relationships on the table. And as the kids that were trying to prove that hip hop was viable in radio, and you don't need to replace us with the Bugsies and the old school guys, the Jeff Foxes, we got this. We put it together. And we withstood the doubters. And we went the extra step. Some of us would do things for sponsors. We would go above and beyond what you were getting paid to do. We would be in those clubs at the night with our banners. We'd be putting up Hot 97 everywhere.
Wow.
We threw it on our backs. So I think we have the right to say that we built it. And I definitely was a part of that. And I did weekends for 5 years before I got up there. And then I was the 3rd man on the show. And then I was the 2nd man, I feel like, with Star and Buck Wild, because Buck didn't talk much. So that made me 2nd chair. And then I left and built my shit up in Philly and then came back and then went back to Philly and then came back. So yeah, hell yeah. Mm-hmm.
I've always wanted to ask this. This is completely, we're going in a different direction.
It's okay, I'm ADD.
Yeah. I remember the Jaheim incident. Okay, I was a kid. Were
I
you
wasn't
there?
there for that, no.
Oh, but
I
you
was
heard
in
about
Philly.
it.
Yeah, about them intimating that he was gay.
Yeah.
But not just coming out, like trying to play. That was an in-between show. I think that was Sway. They were trying out morning shows.
Yes.
Yeah.
And some Jimmy Martinez or something like that.
A comedian, yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't there for that. I was in Philly thriving.
All right. Oh, yeah. You
and
were.
Jaheim and I have records together. We have new music coming out, and we have Waiting on You on his first album together. So I love Jaheim.
Wait, you were on his like album?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's.
And we performed together at the Barclays last year.
Oh, that's fire. Yeah, I didn't know. I saw you sing on the live. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
That was, and it was live. That was crazy.
Thank you.
All right. So New York hip hop radio is falling apart. Yeah. This is my new line of questioning. At the start of 2026, the media landscape for hip hop stations seems dire. We talked about it a little bit earlier. Ebro was let go, right?
Yes.
And man, I didn't expect Ebro to go out like that. In the car, looking stressed out, smoking. Were you shocked at how Ebro went out? Because I thought he went out sad to me.
Was I shocked? I was a little concerned because even his antics are always you know what I mean?
Meditated?
Right. And I think that you got him raw. That I think threw him. I think that threw him. And it would have thrown anybody. After you've been someplace for 15 years, and then they just suddenly, but I think, because of course I wasn't listening in the morning because I had my own show. From what I read in the comments, he even was saying that the writing was on the wall, and that they might have been trying to get rid of them. But in that sense, don't you dial it back? Or don't you go and have a conversation with the shirts? Or did those 15 years of being on top and, renewal after renewal, you talking and getting away with that hot talk, did you get falsely emboldened and thought you were irreplaceable? Because there is some drunkenness that comes along with that fake power when you're doing radio for so long in the #1 market uncontested.
Yeah, he was, it was interesting because he had said it was his political stances that had done this to Netanyahu. But that seemed counter because Mero is also very like in the same line of thinking. But then he did a Patreon episode where he said a big issue was that he wanted to record the studio, like he wanted to build a studio, his own studio, give that content to Hot 97. and they was like, nah. And they also wanted them to come back to the studio, and they was like, nah. So
that studio wasn't even I've never seen it, but from what I understand, that was Flex's studio, Flex's office studio years ago, when we had gotten in so much trouble because there was so much violence happening in the building that the Carpenters Union that owned that building, they were like, y'all got to get the fuck out. Either y'all got to get out or y'all can't bring y'all artists in here because it's too much. The insurance is going up because of it. So that's when Flex got that studio and they started doing all the artist interviews at that studio. That studio was never built really to be a studio like that. But when they either lost the lease at $395 or walked away from it, where are you gonna go? And because they were able to do it from home during COVID, what's the craziness in that? Let's just, provide content, but the gatekeepers be wanting the control.
Yeah.
The gatekeepers always, that's part of Gatekeeper 101. They have to have control.
What's a gatekeeper, though? Is it the person who runs the programming? Is it the people who own the station?
It's all of that.
Okay.
It's all of that. It's the shirts. It's everyone that is the overseer. You're the talent, and they're the ones that tell you, no, stop doing this. And at the end of the day, none of us own these stations. You and I now, we own our platforms. So we can do what we want, within the realms of that platform's code of conduct, right? We don't own any of these radio stations. So if you know that you're talking about something that could potentially not make the owner look good when he's driving his kids to school and the kids going, Dad, why are they saying that about us? Or anything, you have control to dial it back or have a sidebar conversation and say, didn't mean that, was just doing it because of X, Y, and Z. When you stop having those follow-up conversations is when you leave yourself to be susceptible to the firings.
Yeah, I would think you would have to be like killing it to get off those conversations. Like you have to be a monster of a morning show. And even then you might get playing in those waters.
Only Howard Stern, only the white boys get away with that. I'll just put it like that. White boys get away with that. They do it all the time. They talk craziness. They have sex in Catholic churches. Remember that?
Opie and Anthony?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And even when they get fired, someone else picks them right on up. Us, not so much. And so it's sad that we still have to, somebody out there's going, oh, she's always going to race. But because it fucking is. It is. And I think, not to get political, now maybe some of y'all are seeing that it really is. And maybe it shouldn't be. Maybe it should be human versus what? I don't even know what's going on. Everybody's catching it. But when you are in somebody else's house, it's only so much shit you're going to be able to leave behind before they say, you got to go.
And that's why I don't want to mention him in this line of question, but that's why I think Charlamagne has survived so well, because he like colors in the lines in a way that makes it seem like he's coloring outside the lines. But
I think that he has someone in the back offices that is one of those people that wants to, I don't want to say Charlamagne's doing anybody's bidding, but there's definitely somebody in the back offices. Like there's always someone that wants to get from our culture. And so they get someone that looks like us and they put them in play and they give them resources and they give them power, they give them rope, like Stephen A. Smith right now. It's the same thing. So there's still someone puppeteering, and not that he's a puppet again. I never met Charlamagne a day in my life, so I would never insult him like that. I think that is phenomenal how he's taken what Wendy taught him and has run with it and taken it to places she has not. But don't be fooled. He would not be able to do this and get this far and be on Colbert every time he has a talk show coming out without the white boys in the back making those calls for him.
Yeah. So the quick question, like on a scale of 1 to 10, how's, as far as Ebro, the morning show getting ousted, Netanyahu stuff, was that a 1 or a 10 as far as the reason for him getting out?
Well, I never heard what he was saying, so I don't know how damaging it was. What do you think?
Me? I didn't really listen to the morning show with Ebro. So
but if the people think that it was that because they were listening, it probably was. It's not rocket science.
For me, the 10 is just a business decision. Like I thought, hey, you guys don't want to come back to the studio? Fine. All right.
And we're paying you a shitload of money? Fine.
You want to raise? Okay.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's too many little fires everywhere at the same time. You gotta chill.
Yeah. Now we're going to talk about Hot 97, the direction they're going now. Mero's he's in that spot. I'm gonna say my opinion. I think he's a fish out of water.
Mm.
And I feel like he lacks substance for radio. For me, a great morning show host makes the small moments matter. Like, yes, they can get hype, they can go crazy, but it's the random nothing conversation that shows me how good you are. Like Charlamagne Star, you guys have the ability to talk about like rolling your ankle or breaking a dish and it'd be entertaining. Whereas Mero, I think his stories have to be outlandish to even resonate. Do you even listen to the Mero morning show? I feel like you probably haven't, right?
I don't, because I'm doing mine at the same time he's doing his. But is it, can I go back and look at it? Because now you got me wanting to check it out.
Yeah, go ahead, check it out.
And here's what I'll say. This is a soft pitch. What all these stations that are trying to, the next thing, the problem is that Hot 97, which is the blueprint, Hot 97 was the blueprint for power for everyone. Everyone, even around the country. But Hot 97, we never trained up the next generation. We never, and I don't know if it was deliberate or we were just so busy trying to focus on, like I said, we used to have our meetings and we were always trying to keep the brand hot, keep the brand alive. All you need is to hire someone like me, a consultant, and I will get your morning show together. And I will ask Envy. I know exactly what you need. I know what you don't need, and I know how to get you there. They just need someone. Don't go and get a shirt, a high-paid shirt to go, oh, you're doing this. They don't fucking know, and they don't know New York. You need someone that's done it, that's been on the upside, the downside, the outside, and definitely the inside. This is my pitch. Whoever wants to take it. If Mero wants to call me and ask me to consult on the side or sit down and talk with him if he thinks he needs, I'm here for it. But you're not going to crack that without that formula.
Yeah, that was my next question. Like, what advice would you give him right now? But it seems like you don't want to step on your pitch. So, what's like one teeny piece of advice you would give Mero if you were like, "Hey, Mero, this isn't podcasting. You're not on Vice."
But then so maybe he's on to something new, and maybe radio needs to pivot to be more podcasty. Maybe.
Yeah. But I think his radio show, like he has his own podcast, absent of Hot 97. So maybe he's like, I'll have my podcast and Hot 97 will drive people to me, not the other way around. Maybe
I don't know that people listen to radio like that. I think it's the opposite way. Mm-hmm. They get to know you on your podcast, and then if there's something there, then maybe they'll listen. But I know with New Yorkers don't give a fuck about what's going on with you if it don't connect to something that's going on with them or their family or their loved ones.
That's knowledge.
That's a gem.
Yeah.
Remember that every morning. Don't nobody give a fuck. I almost died. My charger caught on fire. I didn't know was burning my bed.
Wow.
Just yesterday.
Jesus.
Right. They don't give a fuck about that. I even brought it and put it on camera. Everybody was like, that's horrible. God is good. But ultimately they're like, what we doing for Super Bowl? Or what we do?
Bad Bunny.
Right. The Grammys was last night. What we like, who you thought? So just keep that in mind.
Yeah. All right, cool. I think that is really advice. And I don't know if he's taking it, but I want to go through this exercise with you. We're about to wrap up, but how do you because I read the radio ratings, right? And I think I know how to read them, but in December, do you even know how to
No, you know why?
Like I saw Hot 97 has a 2.8. What does that even mean? Like what is
really nothing, because I think they changed it again. They changed the ratings in 2007 or 2006. And it used to be diaries prior to that, where people would write down, you get it in the mail with a $5 bill, you write down your favorite choice, morning, afternoon, whatever. Then they changed it to these meters that you had to wear. Who's wearing a fucking meter that ain't a beeper? Who's wearing that once we got rid of beepers? But based on wherever you were, what was playing, got the rating. So if you were in a Chinese restaurant and they're playing Z100, you might not even know Z100, but they get the credit. So that was bullshit. So now they're including even YouTube as a rating measure. So if you're not streaming, which my show was not streamed, and you don't have marketing, right? There were no billboards, no nothing. Some people didn't even know I was back on radio until I left. And you have no and you're not a legacy station. See, Hot 97 and Power always win because they've been around for 1,000 years.
Yeah.
Power couldn't get nothing popping until Envy went over there and sold them my secrets and my formula and all the things. That got Power hot. And Ray J is the one that kept the Breakfast Club alive. So I don't believe in the metrics. I don't trust the metrics. I believe that everything that can be manipulated, like you just said, the view bots, will be manipulated. The only way you can gauge your success or your impact is when you out in them streets.
Okay. So these are the last questions. I've always wondered about. People be saying I'm a Breakfast Club hater.
Are you?
They say that.
Are
I'm
you?
really a Charlamagne hater.
Are you?
I guess like in the age of like Charlamagne receiving constant praise, I think the guy who calls it middle may seem like a hater. But as a New Yorker, I never saw them as special. And I always rank folks like you, Star, way ahead of them. But I think because they were the first to embrace digital, they have an outsized presence when it comes to the history of morning shows. Like they never beat Stern, nor did they ever come close to beating Stern like a Star. Nor could they, I think they couldn't battle Star at the peak of his powers if they were ever opposite of him. Is my assessment right, or am I hating?
No, that's not hate. Your assessment is based on, you have metrics, right? You've actually done research. So whether you like them or not, numbers don't lie, right?
Yeah. Okay, that's true. Are you, I think you were on the Breakfast Club with Charlamagne and Envy there, right?
No, Charlamagne was not there. And that was not purposely done. Although, that was not purposely done, but I feel like God made it that way because I don't think we would have had the same interview had he been there.
Yeah, because I was listening to a clip where Charlamagne and him were talking about, you went on a show, some type of show you went on, and they played the clip of you saying, I was so thankful to Envy for giving me credit for getting my start in morning radio. And I felt like Charlamagne's commentary wasn't great.
What did he say?
He said something along the lines like, yeah, Miss Jones is looking for, I feel like playing it so it doesn't seem like I'm trying to misdirect. So I'm going to try to find the clip and then we'll just edit this out. So I don't seem like I'm trying to start some shit. But you might be like, Danny, I ain't hear all that.
No, let me hear. I don't listen. I don't listen to I'm not interested. I think I'm at a different stage in life and career, and my kids listen to their own. They're driving themselves now, so I'm not even radio's not on. When I'm in the car, I'm trying to have conversation with my girlfriends that I can't have when my sons are there because they're like, bruh. So let me hear what you got.
Okay.
And Envy didn't give me my start in radio. I gave him his start.
That's what I meant.
Yeah. And that's a fact, because when I had my Sunday Countdown show, he was always trying to become full-time by filling in for me when I couldn't be there, when I couldn't get back from Philly. And then when I came back, he was in the DJ seat in the morning show, and I kept him.
Give me 1 second. I'm looking for it right now. Through my YouTube history.
Take your time.
All right. Here we go.
I get it with Ms. Jones. She wants her props. You know what I'm saying? She wants folks to give it up to her for things that she accomplished in this game. That's totally understandable. And it's a testament to, how far you've come, Envy, because, if you was just some washed up DJ, she wouldn't want to claim you. she wouldn't want you to say that you got her your start with her.
A lot of people got this. A lot of people got their start. Donnell Rawlins was on there. He got his start on radio doing that show.
She don't claim him.
I probably should.
He's popping.
Most people don't know he got his start.
He got his start with me.
That was the
So that was a compliment. So thank you, Charlamagne. Yeah. I don't know why I was ready to knuckle up. I'm in the spirit of battle, Charlamagne. Been going through a lot.
Y'all cool, right?
I've never met him. So I would like to say that we're cool because we've never met. And I've never said anything bad about him. And I don't think he has about me. So we're professionally good.
Okay. Yeah. He's certainly the $200 million deal, right? A lot of people are praising him for that.
Yeah.
So, all right. That's kind of it, but I just want to ask, what are you up to? I know you mentioned Pink Champs. What is Pink Champs? Because obviously you said the sister podcast to Drink Champs.
So yeah.
What does that mean?
So Pink Champs is, originally it was supposed to be whoever Nori and them had on their show. I would get the wives, the daughters, the sisters, whatever. But I feel like that is so small to what Pink Champs could be. So now I'm just getting people, not even just all women, that have stories of triumph, that got through some shit and that made it through and are willing to share. Because if we don't need inspiration in our lives right now, baby. So that's what Pink Champs will bring to the world. And laughter and jokes and messiness. And I have my 90s Girl concert. I got all the 90s Girls. That's probably what I'm most proud of, that I created something new in my time back. I got all my 90s girls. Monifa, me and Monifa just met in 2022. After all these years, our labels kept us pitted against each other. Gina Thompson, same thing. Yvette Michelle, same thing. Allure, we went to high school together. Coffee Brown and Diary from Jade. And we go on tour and we do our music, and the grown folks love it. And the kids that love 90s music, they love it. So we've been traveling and doing the 90s Girl Tour. And I've got my talk show, Clear My Name, coming soon as well.
Talk show is what? Where will that be held? What channels will that be on?
Can't tell yet.
Okay.
I can't tell yet. Let them, I guess I'll let the network, you know. But Clear My Name is for everyday people that have ever had something posted or blogged or spoken about them and they don't have $20,000 for a reputation repair company. Come on to Jonesy and clear your name, tell your side.
That's
First episode, the pilot is on my YouTube, the Pink Champs channel. Pink Champs, the show. You can see it.
I mean, obviously you're an R&B head. Are there any people who you listen to today?
So I like this kid, Kevin Ross. I like Jacob Lattimore. I like From the Shy. I like, what's the boy that just won?
Leon Thomas?
Oh, I love Leon Thomas. So there are a few. I didn't know. There are probably more. I still love my Layla Hathaways. I still love my Faith Evans to death. But yeah, I like some of the new guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any last and final thoughts? Is Funk Flex really getting people fired? Not joking.
Is he ever not?
You really think that's true? People were like, yo, he got Envy out of there. And Envy was like, I don't know. He was outside. And it seemed like he set the person up to come talk to him. But yeah.
Oh, you know what? Flex has a lot of power, but Flex was the cornerstone. So he's always going to be in the middle of that Mount Rushmore or at the first position. Because he's the one that took Hot 97, the numbers, on his back and ran and still running, dropping bombs. So, yeah, me and him had a little thing at Mr. C's funeral. But
what?
Yeah.
At a funeral? I think beefs go down at funerals, so I understand.
But they shouldn't.
But they do.
If he said he wants everybody wearing white and you come in black, I'm going to say something.
Flex dropped a bomb on you at that.
Right. And then he was like, well, I heard you going around saying this and that. And I was like, now is not the time. And then it was stupid. It's nothing big.
R.I.P. Mr. C, by the way.
And Fat Man School. Yeah.
Fat Man School.
I got Mr. C a street named after him in Brooklyn.
Oh, that's fire.
This summer, yeah.
That was my favorite of the Hot 97 DJs. He was my favorite.
Yeah.
He was the best at the, what's that called? The
The old school at noon.
The old school at noon.
Yeah, man.
I wouldn't really care about anybody else DJing on that station but him.
Yeah, you miss his presence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was on the block, right?
Yes. Me, him, and Ed. And we were, yeah.
Did it feel like you were back at Hot 97 at times?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah, it did. And it felt like the people that were listening felt familiar. Like it felt like a grown-up Hot 97.
Yeah, you don't get that in life to relive a golden era. But thank you, Ms. Jones. I don't know if you want to share your socials. Other than that, we all good. Thank you for stopping by.
I will share my socials because I know I'm supposed to. My kids will yell at me if I don't. On Instagram, I'm Miss Jones Official, MISS Jones Official. On TikTok, Miss Jones Official. I think I'm Miss Jones Official 94.7. I can't change it from 94.7 now because I'm not starting all over from scratch. And Cash App is Miss Jones Hot 97. You want to pay for lunch.